Jake and I can't skate, but what I can do is celebrate what will be 17 years of labor peace in the NHL after this new collective bargaining agreement expires in 2030. That's right. The new collective bargaining agreement, 5 years, has been ratified by both the league and the players, and so now I can talk about it with you guys, and there's lots of interesting things to talk about in this agreement. For starters, for the first time since 1993-94, there will be 84 games in an NHL regular season, starting with the 2026 season. So we will still see one last 82 game season. The highlight of this for me, though, is the fact that the 2 additional regular season games will be countered by a cutting in half of hockey's ridiculously long preseason from 8 games to 4. The ridiculously long exhibition season will finally end after this coming season, and I, for one, will happily wave goodbye to it. There were way too many exhibition games. There will be plenty of time at training camps and in the 4 games that'll still remain to evaluate whatever players clubs need to evaluate. Now, am I a fan of 2 additional games? Not necessarily. I honestly would have dropped a couple and seen 80 or 76, but by moving to 84 games with the number of teams that we have, we're going to see a relatively balanced schedule now, and it'll also mean an extra Battle of Alberta in Scotiabank Saddledome's final season, and that will, of course, be something to see. Next up on the collective bargaining agreement changes, somebody at the league has apparently been watching this channel, because the league has both closed the LTIR loophole by having it so that teams must be cap compliant in the playoffs. That means no more saving up your guys on LTIR and putting everybody on for game 1 of the playoffs, and signing bonuses have been capped at 60%. I suggested 50 would be the ideal number, but 60 essentially accomplishes the same thing, which is that the salaries you see in the average annual values are closer to what the team is actually paying the player, and that'll make it easier for small market teams to actually be able to afford the contracts that everybody signs, because not every club has the ability to have all the salary paid as signing bonuses on July 1st. Now, I was handily told on the Calgary Flames fan page that the Flames have actually done this a couple of times with the signing bonuses, and right now, actually, had the CBA been extended 1 year earlier, Rasmus Anderson's contract would be illegal, but what you're most likely to see is contracts that were signed in good faith under the previous agreement being grandfathered in. And that goes for the next subject here, and that's 8-year contracts, because those are no longer a thing. Now the longest you can sign with the team you are currently signed with, that's 8 years. That will be dropping to 7 years, and moving to a new team, the longest term contract a player will be able to sign is 6 years. Now, I've heard some people say that this will mean essentially your favorite players staying on your favorite team for less time. I actually disagree, because I think it'll be easier to sign those 6 and 7 year terms than it was to get that 8th year. And there's now more wiggle room to make bridge deals fit under team control than there was going, say, from the entry-level contract straight to an 8-year deal. In this scenario, we'll have to have a prospect play their ELC starting at 18, play it through till they're 21, and then sign a 5-year deal, which would bring them to 26 years of age, and that would give the team 1 year of RFA team control, and then to have the ability to sign that 7-year deal at that point. It'll work out similarly, but I think one of the offshoots of this is essentially going to be that a contract coming out of the ELC is going to be something more akin to a long bridge deal of 4 or 5 years as opposed to 2 or 3, and then staying in team control into the mid-20s, and then trying to sign that longer term deal into the 30s if you really want to keep a guy. Finally, and this may be relevant to the Flames as we move forward in our rebuild here, the last bit of the new CBA I want to talk about is the fact that CHL players will now have some AHL eligibility once they turn 19. As of right now, this second, today, if you play in the CHL and you're drafted by a team, you can't play on their AHL affiliate. In the Flames case, that would be the Wranglers, of course. You can play on their AHL affiliate till your 20-year-old season. A prospect in their draft plus 1, their 19-year-old season, will have AHL eligibility, so you won't have that situation like the Flames have with Zane this year, where the prospect has usually outgrown junior and are just going to dominate that league as opposed to developing more with the club's affiliate. So now you're going to have more flexibility and development there. One of the other big things I wanted to say is, you young guys, you don't understand how big of a deal a day like today is, and that's because for us guys that are now moving into the older generation of hockey fan, and I can't believe I'm saying that at the age of 31, but you young folks, you only grew up with the one work stoppage in 2013. I had the misfortune of technically living through 3, although I don't remember 94 as I was one, but I definitely lived through two. And on each of these seasons, when the CBA had 1 year left, I didn't understand this as much in '04 as a 10/11-year-old who was being swept up in the Flames run. But the hockey world was fully prepared for there to be no hockey for that next season. It was just assumed to be the norm because there was no trust, no working relationship between the league and the players' union. And as you know, in '05, we didn't have a season. My point being, as I got older and we got to 2012, 2013, there was again that sense that a lockout was inevitable. It was just a matter of whether 2013 was going to be a shortened season or cost another year, because there was that similar lack of trust and, quite frankly, animosity between both sides at the bargaining table. So, to see what we've seen in both the COVID seasons, where the 2013 CBA was extended, and now to see a new collective bargaining agreement signed a year before the agreement expired, which is something I never thought I would see growing up, is something absolutely incredible and nothing but good for the sport of hockey. At the end of 2030, when this agreement expires, we'll be talking about 17 years of labor peace, when for a while, like a stopwatch, every 10 years there would be a work stoppage in hockey. Business is good. It's a good time to be a fan. Like, subscribe, and share if you like what I'm doing. And as always, go Flames!